The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back following up the NHRA Western Swing, the DENSO Sonoma Nationals presented by Power Edge, one of the single greatest events we may have ever had performance-wise. I think Pro Stock reset the track record 6 or 7 times. We saw the fastest speed in the history of drag racing. Austin Prock gets in with a 340 mile per hour run. It was just unbelievable and energized, fun and exciting crowd. And we have got a great show for you. So if you are a fan of NHRA drag racing, if you're a fan of racing in general, if you are not a fan of any of it, we look to change that. So share the show, like, share, engage, comment, all of that stuff. We appreciate it. Click the bell down there. And we're going to make you a drag racing fan one way or another. Now, I know we don't have a lot of non-drag racing fans watching WFO Radio. Been going for like 15 years on this platform, and we have the most diehard of diehard fans. We're going to talk about this DENSO Sonoma Nationals. There's a lot going on at this event. Big shout out to the people who make it possible, like Rodex Coffee, of course, the folks at Foggett, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, Hussey Performance, Bernie's Speed Shop, Redline Oil, FTI, so many people stepping up and supporting WFO. Jesse Converters, we'll hear a little bit about them later, but right now, let's bring on our funny car winner. Only 5 wins this season. What's the problem, Austin? I mean, what's wrong with you guys? Only 5 wins. Come on.
Yeah, it's been a pretty incredible season so far. To have one more win than we did last year at this point, says a lot about this team and how hard that everybody's been working to get the job done.
But you made that point, though, which I really liked. Like there's, I don't want to overstate it, but there's an edge, right? Like an annoyance, like wanting the coverage to be correct, assessing what you guys are doing and what you're capable of out there. That came out a couple times this week.
Have we been struggling a little bit? Yes. It has smoked the tires more, but it was just more of the fact of the matter that we still have more wins than we did last year. It's been, everybody's kind of slept on us a little bit, making comments in interviews or media posts. So yeah, I guess I was a little edgy after whatever Q4 or Q3 that was. And I let my thoughts out.
I like it. No, I like it. And you don't always have to be right, Austin. We went through, let's bring people behind the scenes a little bit. Maybe we're not supposed to do this, but nobody told me not to do this. So we're going to do it. There was a media training, right? They have some experts there. I think everybody knows new TV contracts and all kinds of elements are being negotiated at this time of the year. And so we had some experts showing us, a whole bunch of people showed up, good quality, engaging interviews. And the one point that they made over and over again is be yourself, speak your mind, and that seems to be what you're doing.
Yeah. As soon as I started driving race cars when I was 10 years old, I was surrounded by a lot of great people, and they always told me, always be yourself, never lose yourself. Obviously you have to behave in some aspects because you are representing, corporate companies most of the time, but you always need to keep your core self. And I've always lived by that. I've always tried to do that in my interviews. Depending on what sponsors you're working with, there are lines that you can't cross. And I've been there before. I've made comments that upset my sponsors and I've got reprimanded for that. But, you just got to understand who you're dealing with at the time and what avenue you can take, how edgy can you be. And Cornwall Tools, they're really They're a great sponsor at John Force Racing, and they love my personality, and they kind of let me just run with it. So, I'm very grateful for that, and get to express my emotions whether I'm happy or sad. Some fans get upset when I get so angry when we don't turn on a win light. And the thing about it is everybody says you need to be balanced. You can't have too high of wins or too high of lows. Well, I am balanced. They're just both equally the same. It's the same amount of emotion when I lose, and it's the same amount of emotion when I win, just the other way. I can't help it. I think it's part of my heritage, part of my blood. My dad gets frustrated when we don't succeed or do well, and my brother does, my mother does. It's just who we are, and if you don't like it, I'm sorry about it.
Well, that's it. Be who you are, and not everybody can be like, balance is great and all, but if everybody is the same, we want someone that's excited. And for every 100 people out there, and I've got like a saying, like it's the per 100, right? Like for every 100, you're going to get X amount like this, and X amount are not going to be good people, and it's just the way it is. So no matter what you do, now that person has a voice, they'll be able to share it, and then they'll find the others per 100 that agree with them. And eventually it's going to be a lot of people, but not compared to the overall total. Speaking of which, let's watch that final round as called by the guys on NHRA on Fox. And let's check in on that so we can go through the round by round. Let's watch it together.
They leave the starting line, and Austin Prock is motoring down the racetrack, 390 at 333 miles an hour. Spencer Hyde runs 395 at 323. Prock was 70 on the tree. It was a wire-to-wire clobber job.
And now with 5 wins on the season, Austin, you are absolutely dominating this regular season. Prior to you guys running, Spencer Hyde called you the best funny car driver in the world. What do you think of that?
That's pretty amazing. Just for me to be able to live out my dream and drive a funny car, and then someone to give you a compliment like that is unbelievable. So proud to drive this race car for John Force Racing. HendrickCars.com, my teammate Kyle Larson, come close today, but we got it done for you, Mr. H. Cornwell Tools, everybody a part of this whole team. We dug so deep after struggling last weekend, and I appreciate what you said. The most dominant funny car in the category. A lot of people have forgot about that after a few bad runs, and we're back in the winner's circle, baby. Whoa!
Yeah, there he is. That is what it is all about right there. That energy. And that's adrenaline. The adrenaline's got to be through the roof, Austin. I mean, you've got to manage it, right? Like I could see you coming down every second that goes by after getting out of that car.
Yeah, your adrenaline is definitely through the roof when you hop out of the hatch of a Chevrolet SS Nitro funny car. But I always say when I get out of that race car, I feel like I could knock out Mike Tyson. You're just electric. You're so jacked up, especially when that win light comes on. And that's one thing I love about driving an NHRA Nitro funny car.
Yes, exactly. So, wire-to-wire clobber job by Brian Loans should be protected at all costs. Everybody saying congratulations to you out there, the success from this weekend. But it was a big weekend for other reasons. We'll talk about that. Point standings, though, looking at the points, you're not going to say it's over. It's not over. Jack Beckman's 185 out, but nobody wants to see like you be kidnapped and put in a shed somewhere so you can't go to the next 2 races. So you could lose that regular season points lead. But now it's about, I don't know, managing it, keep doing what you're doing, not thinking about $150,000 bonus money to John Force Racing. But that's a pretty big deal. You'll be the first ever.
Yeah, it would be great to end up with that regular season championship. And not to correct you, but after Jack's center line crossing, he lost, I believe, 30 points. So I think we have a 205 or 203 point lead over Matt Hagan. He moved into second. So that was some unfortunate things happened for my teammate. But, at the end of the day, we're competing, and I was glad to extend our points lead there. That's a pretty substantial lead going in with 2 races left, but it's not over. As I always say, until we're holding that check, holding the trophy, it's not over. And after that, we have a lot of work to do as well. So I hope we can end up with the regular season championship points and money. That would be great for our company, great for our team. They crowned that champion at the Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals. So if we could get the job done there, that would be really special for our sponsor, Cornwell Tools.
statistics read on WFO Radio come from one of the major websites, which one I will not say right now, but let's hope it gets corrected very, very soon. All right, let's talk about eliminations. So Hagan stole number one qualifier in that last session, which was wild. But first round, you got to go up against Cruz Pedregon, and you run 383. But the number to me that mattered was 340. The win light matters, but now we're really seeing the normalization of 340 miles per hour. That was a big run. Your dad said kind of just an after effect. Wasn't really going for that. A little faster than he had expected.
Yeah, we got thrown a bone with the conditions there in Pomona. Sonoma, excuse me. The air was really good, and the track conditions matched the air essentially. So, that was awesome. But like you said, we're not going up there trying to run 340 miles an hour. It just kind of produces itself when everything works right. And luckily, this Prock rocket makes a lot of horsepower, and we're capable of doing that. So that was an outstanding run. I had my hands full that run. That thing, I stood on the gas, and it drove me straight to the center line. And I had a lot of wheel in it by the Christmas tree, and that's typically not a good sign in a nitro funny car, because you're accelerating so fast in those few hundredths of a second. If you get the car, out of balance, essentially, it's much more prone to smoking the tires. And the tire got really nervous when I was feeding it wheel, but I was able to get it back in the middle of the groove, and the thing took off, and obviously made a great run. But that one definitely felt fast when you're behind the race car right like that, and you're trying to process where you're at on the racetrack, what the tire's doing. You're making your brain is functioning so fast in hundredths of a second, even thousandths of a second. It really makes that race car feel quick.
Yeah, that was one in the media center. You kind of did a version of what you did right there. And with all the explanation, it's kind of hard to understand that you went as quick and as fast as you did, right? Like you got it to the lock, and still it's fast. So what if it was a straight run, or is that even possible? Because the weight, I can see the weight shifting around from behind the car, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this thing is still hooked up. What's up with that? And then a 340 comes on the board.
Yeah, it probably would have run a little bit quicker and a little bit faster. It wouldn't have been exponential, maybe a few thousandths of a second on ET, and maybe a few points of mile an hour. Like maybe it would have cracked 340 flat. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's happening so quick. Obviously, the straightest way down the racetrack is the most efficient, and we probably ran 1,015 feet that run.
Wild. Just wild. All right. Before we move forward, I want to show you something else that happened this weekend, because you got on the 340 board, but so did your teammate. I want your take on this, because it's never happened to 340 in Top Fuel and in Funny Car on the same weekend. Let's watch the call from Friday night together. Check this out.
Brittany's past the 8 mile. Brittany Forrest goes across 343, 343 miles an hour. Holy Christmas, 364.5 at 343.16 miles an hour. Where does it end?
Unbelievable. Sometimes you anticipate, you hope, and you are rewarded. 343.16, the fastest speed in the history of drag racing.
I just like the energy.
Yeah,
amazing.
Gives you chills.
It gives me chills. I'm like honored and like, thank you for letting me be a part of that.
Yeah. No, that was incredible. Especially to do it there in Sonoma on that Friday night run. The place was packed, and I mean, just listening to the crowd in that video is outstanding. The crowd was so great in Sonoma this weekend, all 3 days, and to be able to throw them a bone back for coming out and supporting our series with a 343 mile an hour run was definitely cool. Good job, Brittany and team.
Yes. Now, not to start anything, but Brittany told us a couple of weeks ago that she was annoyed that you were the fastest and that she wanted to come back and become the fastest. And now she has come back and become the fastest. I know it has something to do with the aerodynamic devices and the air deflectors and all things associated. But and 343 feels a little bit out there for you to be able to rally back. But what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I told her after we ran 341 miles an hour, that was obviously great for us. But we all knew how close her and David Grubnick were to, just absolutely clobbering our speed record. And when she ran 3:41.58 or whatever, she was a few points slower than us. I told her, I'm like, it's a matter of time, and you're going to be doing this run after run, and you're going to take the spot. So I was just happy that I had it for, at least a few weeks or a few months, whatever it was.
Well, it was amazing, and it was electric, and it was like, that's the best of drag racing on that given night. Like, that's what we got. That's our sport. Great crowd. They were lit, like, in multiple ways.
Yeah.
And they pitted you guys right in a different location. People at home maybe don't know how the pits are laid out. This year, they laid the pits out very differently than in previous years. And John Force Racing was right at the exit of the grandstands. And so I am sure you were swamped with fans in a way that you aren't normally. Like, you normally got big crowds, but this was different.
Absolutely. All weekend long. I never had so many people at the back of my pit. I mean, they were yelling my name all weekend, and, they'd be like, Austin. And then my crew guys would go, sucks. And so that was like the running joke this weekend, which was pretty funny. Always the guys, they always humble me. But yeah, it was really cool to see how many people were out there. It was, I walk up to the starting line every run, and, I would walk through the crowd, this massive crowd, all the way up to the starting line. And I'd get to the starting line, and I look up in the grandstands, and there wasn't a seat open. So yeah, that was, as a professional race car driver, that's one of the coolest things to see, is just a packed house and everybody excited to see what's going to go down.
So many things we could unpack there. There were multiple times where I saw Brittany just like in the crowd, and people were not being weird about it. It's just like drag racing, right? Like, there's a couple of fans, there's Brittany Force, there's Austin Prock, Tony Stewart just walking around, not with a mob of crazies, like desperate to clip a lock of hair, nothing weird like that. It's just, drag racing is so cool compared to the other sports for the behavior of most fans. I'm sure there are a couple that get nutty, but I didn't see it.
Yeah. Most of the fans are always very respectful, and obviously we love when they gas us up, when you're walking through a crowd and they're yelling their name and running up to get it, a young kid running up to get an autograph. Like, that's why we are NHRA drag racing. That's why we're so different, is every ticket is a pit pass. You can literally come up and shake my hand at almost any point of the day. So that's one thing we definitely pride ourselves as NHRA race car drivers.
It is wild. It is wild. All right. So Paul Lee's second round sets up the battle of Matt Hagan. Just talk about getting to Hagan. And as that run is coming up, I'm thinking to myself, the math, right? The math against Hagan. It's not something like I want to inflame or a scab to pick at, but you're undefeated on Sunday against Matt Hagan. And so I'm figuring you stand at the roulette wheel, you watch black come up 8 times. Eventually red is coming up. But any good gambler knows that doesn't necessarily mean it is. Just another wild run. Talk about those 2 runs.
Yeah, Paul Lee, you can't ever take him lightly. Him and Johnny Lindbergh and John Medlin do a great job as well. And they can drop bombs on us. We've seen Paul Lee win on hole shots. We've seen Paul Lee just out drag someone. So you always got to be on your game. We don't take them lightly. We got a lot of respect for those guys over there. And I believe, what did I run that run? 88, I think. You
ran 88.7, 335. He was 393. A good run, but
yeah. And that was a great run for us. And then Hyde comes up behind us and runs 87. That shows how well that car's coming around too. But that was a good run. I had my hands full of that run as well. The first 2 runs on Sunday were not the prettiest, from a driving aspect, but they were good enough to get the job done and turn on the win light.
Yes. And then the Hagan deal, like this is, I remember when Antron Brown had beaten Steve Torrance like 21 out of 22 runs, and that was the topic. And then it just totally flip-flopped. Mm-hmm. I don't expect that to happen here, but it's just weird how the racing gods work. It seems like a statistical anomaly. When you're staging up against Hagan, he's hot, he's fast, but you guys keep having the same result.
Yeah, Hagan and those guys, they're tough over there. Mike Knutson and that whole team are doing a great job. Mike getting his first win last weekend in Seattle was really cool. It's always cool to see, your fellow competitors, especially when they're young and, getting their feet wet in their position to get their first win, get that monkey off your back. And you see how that portrays right into the next weekend. They come out their number 1 qualifier. They made some really great runs. And our drag race was just like our Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty deal in Seattle. We both run within a few thousandths of a second. of each other. Essentially, we're really close on reaction times, and I feel like that's how it's going to be the rest of the year. I love racing Matt just because I know how great of a competitor he is, and he's always very humble and very nice to me at the top end. So we love racing those guys. I look forward to many more, great races for the fans throughout the rest of the year. I'm sure there'll be plenty.
Yeah, there will be plenty. And the pressure or the intensity or whatever you want to call it, what's on the line is going to go up. And that's why I love the countdown. I'm super happy about this regular season deal, but the countdown just changes everything. You're going to hate it because you're going to lose a whole lot of points, but you'll have to go through it again.
It's nothing new, Joe. It's nothing.
I know. Let's add the 2 seasons worth of points together and come up with a giant number. Final round, Spencer Hyde. Man, everybody loves this kid. He has just been a wonderful addition, very serious about his profession. Jim Head, everybody loves Jim Head as well, a guy who has kind of transitioned from gruff reputation to beloved because of it. And Spencer, who is, I would say he's kind of quiet, but he's Canadian. That's kind of their thing. And just earning the respect of everyone very rapidly. He's in his first season, knocked on the door twice in the final round, and they've been fast. So talk about setting up for that final round.
Yeah, they had the greatest car all weekend, most consistently quick. So we knew we were going to have we were going to need to have our stuff together. And like you said, that was his second final round, and you keep knocking at that door. Eventually it's going to open. And I was just hoping it wasn't going to open on Sunday against me. So yeah, my guys did an outstanding job. We ran 390. We were trying to run the run before, I believe, and my dad, Thomas, and Nate made the right decisions and got that thing to smoke it right down there. So that was probably my best run of the day. Definitely, I left about the same all day. I had a 5,000 spread over 4 runs, and that was definitely my straightest one. So it was a good time to get my stuff together.
Yeah, that's ridiculous numbers, by the way. A 5,000 over 4 runs in a nitro funny car, just the staging, let alone everything else. That is amazing. That's why you're a world champ. All right, let's look ahead. Brainerd, Minnesota, Indy. Preview the 2 races as we are right there now. It's crunch time. It's critical time. I don't know that if you're changing your tune-up, you're trying to figure out where you're at, you're testing all over the place. Maybe it's not going to be your year. You guys are hot going into Brainerd. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting there. I have no idea what these Cornwell Tools boys are going to be doing with the setup. Obviously, like we said, we did a lot of testing in Sonoma there all throughout qualifying and came up with a game plan for Sunday. So we'll have to, they're going to be digesting it. I'm sure my dad, he's already dove into it. Thomas has dove into it. Nate has dove into it. So they'll get our ducks in a row. We got 2 weeks off to digest all this and try and come up with a game plan that we believe is going to be able to run us throughout these last 8 races. You obviously need to have your stuff together right now if you're going to go for a world championship. And we're in a pretty good place. I wouldn't say we're in quite as good of a place behind the scenes as we were last year, just because last year we had 2 years kind of on that setup and, everything was just a lot more organic. Right now we're scratching and clawing a little bit more to get these wins. So I'm looking forward to getting to Brainerd. The last, 3-4 years, this team has had an outstanding car in Brainerd. Last year I screwed it up and I don't want to do that again. So I'm going to have my stuff together and be chomping at the bit.
And the Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals coming up, the biggest drag race on the planet. Cornwell Tools as the sponsor. I was talking to those guys, and I don't want to say like you put them on the map. That's not what I'm saying. But as far as consistent brand recognition, and then the fact that they have jumped in to support our biggest race, a huge investment in the sport of drag racing. I love the fact that we've got so many tool companies out there. It used to be beer companies. Now it's tool companies. I think that tells us something about the people who watch NHRA drag racing, that they're doers and builders and makers and all of those things. You want to win that one. That's your sponsor's race. Give me an Indy preview.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to get to Indy. Last year I got my first U.S. Nationals win, and to do it with my family was just incredible. And you get a taste of that feeling, and obviously you want it more and more and more every time you take a bite. So, I'm having Cornwell Tools as the main sponsor is going to be awesome. There's going to be so many dealers out there from Cornwell Tools. It's definitely going to be our biggest race of the year, taking care of the sponsors. There's going to be everybody and their brother, mother, sister. Everyone's going to be there. So, and let alone that's a kind of a home race for everyone. So you're going to have a lot of family members there, and that can get distracting, but you just got to keep your blinders on. And if you can get the job done, there's nothing better than having a winner circle like that. It's definitely incredible. Last year was amazing. And I can't wait to see the new tower at the track as well. I drive by it. I live right here in Indianapolis area, and it's coming along really nice. So to have that new tower up, have some renovations to the track, and have my sponsor's brand, on the side of the track is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited too. You mentioned the tower. Last year we worked out of a storage, a shipping container. It was really beautiful. Like, it's amazing what they can do with these shipping containers these days, but I'm excited to have a beautiful tower with people in the suites and all of the associated. Austin, great job. Thank you for always making yourself available for WFO following these wins. We've really been tracking your season so far. And what's amazing is you're still new in the motorsports world. You're still new, like the NASCAR guys, like this Austin Prock, man, 5 races. That's a big deal. Your name is still getting out there, and we want to keep pushing it out there. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm real excited about the rest of the season. Good luck.
Cool. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully I'll see you after Brainerd.
Yeah. Like, you control this. Yeah. You control this fact. All right, Austin. Be well. Have a great day. Cool. Enjoy your couple weeks off. There he goes. Austin Prock with us here on WFO Radio. Points leader, John Force Racing driver. Spoke with John after the win. John is so fired up about it. And it's amazing the way they have been so consistent. 0.005 of a second separation over 4 rounds of elimination. That is amazing. But it wasn't necessarily the greatest single story of the weekend. The greatest single story of the weekend might have been the father-son pro stock final round between Greg and Aaron Stanfield. The good news is we have got those guys coming up next. Greg and Aaron going to talk to us about it. Before we do that, though, I want to shout out to a couple of the people who make it possible for us to go WFO and keep the show going. Frankly, like you guys who are sharing the show and reposting it on X and all of that, like you are, thank goodness for you, because that's how the audience grows. It's truly grassroots. We're not a big corporation. We're a mom and pop store who's just hanging in tough. But when HusseyPerformance.net, come on, they are not just copperhead gaskets anymore. They are built right here in the United States of America, sourced right here in the United States of America, have a very rapid turnaround times, or whichever gaskets you need for whatever make or model of car, big in stock and super stock, the alcohol ranks, of course. I've got them on Project Pontiac. Check out David Allen and the team at HusseyPerformance.net. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And if you need something quickly, they can make it happen. And also our great friends at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure for you guys, meaning you don't have to be trying to get your super comp license to go to Frank Hawley. You could just want the fun experience of driving a dragster, to go out there and like have a good time. Like back in the day, people would do something wild, like go bungee jumping. You don't need to do that anymore. You can drive a dragster with Frank Hawley. Last week, they were up there at Firebird and Boise. They travel around the country with the program. So go to their website, frankhawley.com, and see where they're going. They're definitely coming somewhere near you. You can check them out. We greatly appreciate the folks at Frank Hawley Drag Racing School supporting WFO Radio all these years. Also want to remind you, PowerTube TV, great place to watch WFO Radio. Friday nights, 9 o'clock. We are the Friday night show. What's up, PowerTube? Have another one. Friday nights on PowerTube TV. WFO Radio gets rocked. All right, the Stanfields are next.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
And thank you to the folks at Redline Oil for stepping in on WFO Radio. We appreciate it, guys out there. Synthetic motor oil, gear oil, trans fluid. But if you need water wetter, like if you got a sportsman car water wetter, if you got a street car water wetter, helps out your cooling system. All right, let's bring on the Pro Stock winners. joining us now. See, here's the deal, right? There we go. We got to put you like that. Greg and Aaron Stanfield, the winner and the winner, because Aaron tuned your car, Greg. How about that?
Doesn't get any better than that, Joe.
Yeah. Like, what are we going to do with this, right? Sometimes we try to build a little conflict, a little controversy. There's going to be none of that, because this is like proud papa moment. The kid that you created pulled you back into drag racing, literally forced you to come off of the beach with the cocktail, as we've heard about so often, to come race again. And in the first final round, he tunes your car to victory against himself. What do you say about that?
What were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking either way I win here, but I was also thinking, I was like, whose idea is this again? It was mine.
Nobody was rooting for you, Aaron. How do you feel about that? Like, come on, we love you. Everybody loves you. You're a beloved character. Like, I think no enemies, but in this case, they were, I mean, Jolie, maybe, I don't even know. What about it?
Well, Oakley was definitely upset. Her pops who beat her dad. But yeah, I'm sure they, at least in our group, they probably wanted to see my dad win, but it's all good. I mean, it was all in good fun, and it was a very cool experience.
Greg, like, try to quantify it. Like, fathers and sons, Warren and Kurt, like, there are so many storylines. Billy and Steve Torrance, the last father and son to do it, but you got a tight-knit family. You guys have raced in the other classes, but this is different. This is the big stage, the bright, hot spotlight. The kid dragged you back in. You said it, like, all right, I'm going back, all rusty, like the Tin Man. And it doesn't take that long for you to get back to the winner's circle. Now that you're back in the winner's circle, you're a former U.S. Nationals winner. You raced for a championship, but when you look back at this weekend and the way it played out, running your son, where does this rank in your racing career that has had so much happen?
Well, that's the top of my list, Joe. For just being, at the same racetrack, racing the same class as Aaron is definitely best experience I could ever ask for as a father. And to turn the win light on against him was even better. But that's just me and him going at it with each other. So we're blessed to be able to do this with the people we have supporting us, with Janney Brothers, the Johnson Horsepower Garage people, all the people that help the Elite Motorsports are behind this. And we're ecstatic to be able to do it, not alone getting to race each other, especially in a final round. I couldn't have dreamed of it ever happening, but to do it this soon, we were both pretty emotional there. So everybody probably could see it.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't have bet the first time we raced each other at an NHRA Racing Pro Stock it would have been in a final round. I'd have figured it'd come a little bit earlier in the rounds than a final round. So it was definitely cool.
So this Elite Motorsports camp has been depressed a little bit because the performance hasn't been there. Greg, your car's been fast the past few races. Anybody that has been watching knows the car has been fast, but you've been in this, uphill climb. And even this weekend, the KB Titan cars were just resetting track records and they stumbled, they shook, but that's part of it. But what I want to mention is the jubilance on the starting line. Like Erica Enders, I think people might think she's only happy when she wins. I can confirm that she was very happy because she levitated on the starting line. Like the whole crew, the whole team. Tony Stewart was down there. Like everybody, Jason Johnson, everybody was just energized by this moment. I'm sure you heard a lot about it, but talk a little bit about how this is helpful to the whole team to have this breakout weekend and have Elite Motorsports back in the winner's circle.
Well, of course, we've definitely been facing some adversity, and it's not just on the racetrack. We've got, Mark's been through a double lung transplant, and, one of our main engine guys and main EFI tuners, Jake Hairston, has been fighting cancer, and he just went through a major surgery before we went on the West Coast swing. So, we've all been racing with something pretty heavy on our hearts as we really wanted to park a car in the winner's circle for Jake because I know this has been tough on him. And not only that, just, it's easy to underestimate just how much everyone has to, that everyone sacrifices when you're behind like this. I mean, we got time away from family and, time off from work. I mean, everybody needs a little bit of that. And, and everybody's had to sacrifice, quite a bit of that to get us back in a competitive position. So, to all the guys that are working on the cars and in the engine shop, it's, I think for me and him, it was really cool to be able to be able to have that moment for them. And, you say Erica being excited. I mean, people might not know it, but she's a huge team player. And when she's out, she's, I know I can tell she's always been my biggest cheerleader whenever, she's out and I'm still in. But she's just like me. Once we put the helmet on, we line up against each other. It's on. We want to turn the wind light on.
On the starting line, every time cheering on the guys, definitely hating being there, but like Tony Stewart too. I talked to him about it. I said like, hey man, I know a lot of racers that when they lose, they don't come here and they don't come hang out on the starting. And he goes, yeah, well, that's their fault. He goes, there's always something to learn, no matter who you are or what you do. There's something to learn by being down here. And I'm taking every minute of it. I don't want to be here, but he was there, part of your deal. So guys, tell me about the semifinals, right? Because I want to know how you prepare for that when by the numbers you're outgunned, right? Like you're outgunned. You guys know you're outgunned. So what do? Do you set up for like the best run that you can make and hope for some help, which that's what happened. But you had to have seen the numbers on paper that those guys were just crushing it. Dallas especially was nutty what he was doing. They both ended up shaking the tires. So tell me what you can share about strategy going into a run where the numbers say your back is against the wall.
I think in that situation, we definitely, we kind of all talked about it. You just got to get the drivers as close as possible to try and sneak one away.
Fastest car doesn't always win.
Fastest car doesn't always win. And I think if we make really good runs, we are close enough to be able to, win some of those rounds if we drive really well. So I think that's kind of, the mindset of, I don't think we were going up there trying to set the world on fire. We were just trying to make the best quality run we could make and try to let the drivers do their job.
Yeah, I'm looking at your reaction times here, Aaron. Like you were really up on it. You were 11 against Dallas. You're 15 against Cody. You're 17 against Corey Reed, and you're 16 against your dad. And so that says to me that you had a spread of 11-16, which is 5,000, same as Austin Prock. That's ludicrous.
Yeah, I definitely had a good day behind the wheel, and that's my goal every time I go to a race is to try to have that quality on the tree behind the wheel at every race I go to. But it can be hard to accomplish. And if I knew where to go or how to do that every time, I promise you I would. But obviously I've proven to myself several times that I'm capable of having those kind of days. And I personally have one of those, and sometimes you need that to go rounds.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. 11-16, a grouping for pro stock. I remember a couple of years ago where like reaction times were in the 40s, and you were trying to get it back, and that's an impressive day. And I guess you had to buy lunch today because of it.
I just got done to buy lunch too.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Yeah, it's incredible what he did, and to that level was definitely incredible. I mean, I know he was driving hard to win a trophy for Jake, to try to put a smile on his face for what he's been going through.
And what was that like? Did you, I don't know the situation. Does Jake come into the shop, or is he still at home recovering? What can you share? I'm sure you spoke with him on the phone. Did you get any commentary from Jake about it?
Jake is he's still recovering at the moment, and but we were able to FaceTime a little bit in the winter circles, and we got to talk to him a little bit and just let him know that we're thinking about him and that win was 100% for him.
That is great. Now it's super exciting. All right, let's take a second and watch the final round and see what Brian Loans and Tony Pedregon and those guys from NHRA and Fox did with it. Let's check it out.
They both leave green. Aaron Stanfield, 16. His father was 30. Finish line stripe given to the old man. 6:55.2. Greg Stanfield at 211 miles an hour picks up his first pro stock victory in 14 years.
Brian, I think Greg Stanfield is still up here taking in this moment. And right before you guys ran, we showed a photo of you and Aaron in the winner's circle back from the Fairplex when you won. Now you are holding your 6th career Wally in pro stock. Where will you keep this one?
Oh, this is up there. Trying to hold emotions back, but that was special running, Aaron. Big time. Big thank you to Joe and David Janik, the Rod Shop, Gil and Rick Kirk, Pat Quinn, everybody at Elite Motorsports done a great job. That was breathtaking.
And what did you ask me when you walked over for the interview?
Who cut the better light? Which he did, so I'm going to have to buy lunch Monday.
Enjoy, Greg.
Thank you.
Great job, NHRA on Fox with that. Exciting. I want to bring it back to the Rod Shop for a second, Greg. Gil Kirk, you the last time, I think when you won the first time in Factory X, you're like, hey, man, we're adding to the total for the Rod Shop. And there was some emotion about that, too, because you're flying the colors for the Rod Shop. Those of us who remember that brand for so many years, and it's still winning. What was that like? Did you talk to him and tell me what you can share?
Well, a lot of people don't know I started racing with the Rod Shop back in the 80s, and I was actually the last hired driver that the Rod Shop put on their team. So to be able to come back and finish my career with their logo on the car and to win races for them it's an incredible feeling. I mean, Gil was way ahead of his time on the team concept back in the day. On trying to have his logo on all the cars, and his brother Rick Kirk's on board with the deal now, and it's an honor to be able to represent them, not alone be able to win for them.
Yes, I'm excited about it as well, and amazing stuff. All right, let's look forward to Brainerd and the U.S. Nationals. First, Brainerd, the penultimate race of the regular season, the final race that is really about winning a Wally. You're trying to gain some ground. You've got a car that can win. You guys are 6th and 7th in the point standings. We got great fans up there. Give us a Brainerd preview for a moment.
Well, I think we've got a little time to try and get a little work done before we go to Brainerd. So I'm sure we'll. I know we're going to Norwalk, I believe, for the night of fire, where Jack Hoffman and Eric Enders will be running. So I'm sure we'll get to, maybe try a few things there and just get our engines ready and go into Brainerd. I mean, it's the perfect time to start, taking that race and just really starting to build off of it and see if we can carry some momentum into Indy and then into the countdown.
What about you, Greg?
Well, I think at this point, if we can just keep moving the upward progress on getting cars a little faster, and we all know it's about peaking at the right time. If you can get in, within the top 10 on the chase, and you can peak at the right time, you got a shot at this right here. And if we can stay within a couple hundreds or even catch them, I think you're going to see some changes coming. There'll be some more trophies coming to the lead.
Very interesting. Got to be exciting. And then the Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals, the biggest drag race on the planet. Greg, your chance to be back there, and it looks like you're enjoying like every aspect of it. But you've won this race. That was a huge win. That was a huge win for Kenny Koretsky. That really helped WFO Radio early on. Like, I don't think people fully understand. That was at the very beginning of me launching this enterprise. People were not listening to podcasts. They were drag racing interviews all by themselves. There was nothing like it. And here we are now 15 years later, and there's a whole bunch of shows. I'm not saying I'm a pioneer, but it was you guys winning, you and Ellie Tonglet, which inspired Captain Chaos to bring us out to Maple Grove. That really solidified WFO Radio, I think, in the minds of the drag racing loyalists. Like, man, this guy's not going anywhere. He won't leave. So let's support him. So what do you draw on from that win that you can apply now that you're back this year?
Well, first of all, I want to let everybody know, Kenny's going through some tough times with his health issues, and we're praying for him and his family. Hopefully he gets recovered from what he's been going through. Had a lot less gray hair back then. I've got a lot now, thanks to him. I'm enjoying it right now, Joe. Just racing with him and racing with Lee. Just watching all these young guys work so hard to try to achieve the goal of holding the wall at the end of the day. So I'm on the coattails of everybody trying to hang on and keep pace with all these young guys and gals, and just enjoying every minute of it. And we're going to give it all we got. Trust me, we're not done.
Yeah, I love that idea. Also, Aaron, what about you? What's your U.S. Nationals preview? I know you guys are a fan, but you know yours is a little different. You're out there for your own. You let them win the first one, so now you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, let me win the first one. It's my turn now, but Indy's probably the most stressful race for me, and definitely the busiest race. So, you know, I got to kind of build myself up and get ready for it. But you know, we had a great race day there, and you know, it's gonna be hard to top that, but it'd be pretty dang cool to go back to back in pro stock at the U.S. Nationals. So we're just gonna, you know, get myself psyched up and get ready to get stressed out, and we'll go have some fun.
Yeah, in the U.S. Nationals, like it'd be Stanfield versus Stanfield in the final round at Indy again. That would be amazing. Guys, appreciate you. Congratulations on this personal family moment. And it's about to get real serious. And so, like, who knows? This could be for something much bigger when we come to the In-N-Out Burger Finals at Pomona. A lot of things would have to break your way, but you never know. I just want to honor this moment. Thank you for coming on WFO Radio and giving us the behind-the-scenes story.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, Greg. And thanks for being like the first guy to put a WFO sticker on your Pro Stock car back in the day. Kurt Johnson put our XM satellite radio show on, and then you filled the void immediately after when we went to WFO. That means a lot to this day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, go enjoy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Greg and Aaron Stanfield with us here on WFO Radio, doing a great job. I appreciate those guys so much, and a really tremendous final round. All right. We said that we are going to have Bobby Bennett from Competition Plus talk about his Legends feature, and he's in the airport. He got delayed. We've overcome all obstacles, and he joins us now. Here he is, Bobby Bennett. What's up, Bobby? Where are you at?
I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport waiting for my next flight. And, Joe, I would walk through snow for 10 miles uphill to be on your show.
Well, thank you very much. So listen, this is all about what you got with Legends, the series. We've been promoting Legends, the series for a long time. You've got a new one out. I think all of our listeners go to competitionplus.com. You got a nice link to WFO Radio right there on the front page. I greatly appreciate that. What do we got going with Legends, the series?
Well, COVID kind of threw us behind schedule and everything. The whole getting sick thing just didn't work well for me. But we have resumed season 7 with episode 3 with one of the most dynamic track operators. I dare call him a track operator because he's so much larger than life. And it's Bill Bader and Bill Bader Sr. And we will be featuring him as we resume the Legends of series.
Wow, that's going to be wild. And so you're going to be talking about, this is Bill Bader Sr.
As told by Bill Bader Jr.
Wow, that is going to be amazing. I'm super excited. When does this all drop?
It is Thursday evening at 8 p.m., and that will be July 31st. And it's free on our YouTube channel, Competition Plus TV.
That is great news. Any nuggets that you can tease that will encourage people beyond the Bader family? Like we all want to check it out regardless, but any nuggets that you can put out there, because it couldn't have been just an easy ride to get to this point.
Well, I have to tell you that each of our episodes is 60 hours of editing time minimum. Like the Kenny Bernstein one was 100. So when you take somebody of the character of Bill Bader Sr. and you try to compile it in a 1 hour presentation of a documentary, it's very, very difficult. And especially when you have to search for everything related to him, because we have probably about 20 hours of research that went into this, in addition to the editing time. And Bill Jr. does such a fabulous job of helping people to understand who his dad was. And who his dad was one of the most determined, driven individuals. Look, we have people in this earth that strive to make things happen. And then you have people who I don't care if the moon is falling on the earth, it's going to happen. And that's exactly how Bill Bader Sr. was. And to hear Billy talk about his dad and bringing him up, if you wonder why Bill Bader Jr. is so successful, you need to look no further than his father, because he laid a foundation that was so incredible. I mean, of course, he probably broke every child labor law from 1920s to get to that point. But Bill Bader was very passionate. As Bill Jr. describes him, he was an opportunist. There was not a time that opportunity knocked that he didn't open the door. And from everything, we're talking about a guy that used to race a dirt track, that ran a dirt track, that even sold Italian mopeds and ran a nightclub before he got to Norwalk. And he'd never done anything in drag racing before when he came in. So, I mean, it's just, there are so many twists and turns in this, and it's just incredible. We should all aspire to be a Bill Bader Sr.
Well, I can't wait to watch it. Thursday, Competition Plus TV. That is your YouTube channel for our YouTube subscribers. If you're not subscribed to Competition Plus, you should be, and vice versa, frankly. Click the bell. Never miss one. Legends, the series, Comp Plus. If you got a smart TV, you can get it through there on your YouTube. It's going to be great. Bobby, we're going to let you go. Appreciate it. Thank you for making the time at the airport. I know a lot of people got delayed coming out of Sonoma. One final note, though. 343. Did you ever think you'd see it?
I never thought I'd see that. And 343 miles an hour from a standing start to 1,000 feet. Let that sink in. 343 miles per hour. It's just incredible. I think in our lifetime, we will see a 350 mile an hour run. And it's incredible. I think that's probably as far as my lifetime will take me. That will probably be left to my grandson to see, my great-grandson, I'm sorry, to see. But it's just incredible. And when you look at the drag racers that does this, and you look at just how anybody can be, not everybody can be good, but it doesn't discriminate what sex, what gender you are, what race you are, whatever. And to see Brittany Force drive 343 miles an hour, and we go back to the Shirley Muldowney days, we would have said, no way in heck would this have happened. But we look at drag racing today, and it's an awesome, most perfect platform for diversity that's out there. And I love this sport. I've given my life to it.
Thank you, Bobby. All right, go get on your plane. Safe travels. Thanks for making the time. We'll all be watching the Bill Bader episode of Legends, the series. Thank you so much, Bobby.
Thank you, Joe, for having me.
Of course. Appreciate it. There he goes. Get home, buddy. Get home. There he goes. Bobby Bennett, competitionplus.com. Also, there's a lot of early adopters of WFO Radio on this show with Greg Stanfield and Bobby Bennett. I appreciate all those people. I can think back, can't help but think back to everyone who was so helpful. Someone who was not an early adopter of WFO Radio, but is a recent adopter, is Jason Galvin. Jason Galvin called a lot of the action. I want to talk to Jason Galvin about a debrief, of course, from this weekend's action. We were doing a lot of interesting stuff broadcast-wise that I don't know got the appropriate amount of attention. I'm going to talk a little bit about his opinion on 343, all of those things coming up just seconds from now. But I want to tell you about a couple of the other folks that make WFO Radio possible, like Bernie Speed Shop. Josh Hart, Bernie Speed Shop, 100,000 square feet in Ocala, Florida. And it's a dealership, but it's also a restoration shop. It's also a paint and body shop. Like, they do everything at Bernie's. And they're in Ocala. They're minutes from Garlitz. There's a reason to go there if you go to Bernie's, but check them out online, bernies.com, and all their social media. They've got an inventory of classic cars, exotic cars, but they're always looking for more. So what I think is best for my audience is, you got a potential barn find in your barn right now, like when you pass and your kids, like, they find it and they won't know what to do with it, and sell it to Bernie's, or reach out to them and have them sell it on consignment on your behalf. Like, they do a lot of that because they have the connections and they know who wants whatever it is that is in your barn, that kind of stuff. Very knowledgeable experts. They do movie props for some of the biggest movies. It is an A+ tier restoration shop, Bernie Speed Shop in Ocala, Florida. Plus, they're the home of our great Fan Fest before the Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gator Nationals. Check them out, Bernie's Speed Shop, and we appreciate Josh. Josh moving in the right direction. They're trying to get there before the U.S. Nationals. It is just that simple. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Jason Galvin, who helped spawn the Life's a Drag show, by the way. Life's a Drag will be on noon Eastern on Wednesday. Life's a Drag, Elon and Jason, they've taken your comments. They have revamped the show, noon Eastern, live. They promise it is going to be absolutely live. We'll see them then. Jason Galvin up after this.
Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Speaking of Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, the weekly winner in the WFO League was Mike V. Congratulations, Mike, on winning the WFO Radio League. We got 150 people in the WFO Radio League. Imagine if I promoted it the way I should be, with the code and the entry list up on the screen. Yeah, I'm not good at everything, guys. The overall leader for the entire season is Pro Stalker. Is it Stalker or Stalker? We don't know. For full results, you can listen to the Ignition podcast. Bobby Graham gives out the full results of our Drag Race Bracket Bonanza WFO League, but I put it up in in our social accounts each week. You can go back into our feed on X and find the code to join the WFO Radio League. I would like for all of you to join the WFO Radio League on Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. All right, some guy who's in the league, I think you're in our league, Galvin, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Now it's not going too good for either of us. I know that.
I think I picked Doug Coletta and Greg Stanfield to win last weekend. So
the Greg Stanfield pick is pretty amazing. Doug Coletta, it was a.
I'd have to. So here's the deal. Here's what I'll say on that. I'd have to go check Bracket Bonanza. I definitely picked Doug. I think I picked Stanfield. If I didn't, what I do know for a fact is I did take Greg Stanfield in the NHRA non-official fantasy league. Where we make our predictions every week. That's a different deal, right? So
we're under duress. At least I am. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm under duress when I'm picking my Drag Race Bracket Bonanza on Sunday morning, getting ready for the pre-race show, all of these things. And it's this one. And I don't really retain.
Where I messed up was I made the picks Saturday at the boardroom. With a nice pork chop and a glass of wine in front of me. So I probably wasn't real locked in at the moment.
The boardroom was amazing. I enjoyed it. Very close to
Josh Hatchett find.
Way to go, Josh. They always good. There's a little speakeasy there. I don't know if I want to share all that stuff like they do on Life's a Drag, because next thing you know, it'll be swamped by racers and we won't be able to get in there. All right, Jason Galvin, I want to talk to you about a couple of things. We had a great race. It was tremendous. Fans of Galvin, share the show. But I'm not the right person to talk about this. You are the right person to talk about this. I will float a minor gripe that I have with our media community. And maybe you have an opinion. And if I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. I am willing to hear that I'm wrong. But it seems that in our sport, the people who cover the sport, who are all out there with their social media accounts and doing various things and countless websites and all that, they will notice the most minor of negative things out there, but they will maybe not notice or maybe deliberately not mention, which is kind of what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Deliberately not mention big, massive, positive changes. And what I mean in particular is this Friday night on NHRA.TV, YouTube, Facebook, all the social accounts for free. We created what I deem to be the greatest single broadcast group endeavor that has happened in the history of drag racing ever. Ending up with a 343 mile per hour run by Brittany Force, Brian Loans, Tony Pedregon, myself in the booth, you starting line, Courtney Enders, Jordan Vandergriff in the staging lanes. There's never been a staging lanes reporter. They never have had that live.
Let alone two.
David Freiberger on the top end. Like that was a sea change in the broadcast. It was on par, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. You're a broadcast expert. You've done TV. You've won an Emmy. On par with the NASCAR broadcast on Amazon on Prime. It was on par for like a millionth of the budget. The NHRA broadcast is on par. Culminating, there it is. I finally got it. I had to go back with that word just because I wanted to prove to myself I could say it. And you don't see it on any of the social accounts that claim to be the social accounts that nitpick on these things. You don't see it on any of the websites. Revamped team, Courtney Enders getting no love, Jordan Vandergriff getting no love. Why is no one noticing these massive changes? I assure you, if the NFL or Major League Baseball or the NBA rolled out a new style broadcast, people who are watching it would notice it. But our people, they don't even notice, or do they not want to say? Do they not want to say, oh my God, that was freaking great. Sorry, Big Mac and Steve Evans. Rest in peace. Love you guys. That wasn't like it was what we did on Friday night. We did something live, fresh, entertaining, with history all over the place. You killed it on the starting line. Courtney killed it in the lanes. Jordan Vandergriff is doing a great job. Freiberger is the drivers. He's extracting all this information, and nary a comment about it. Like it didn't even happen. What's up with that? Galvin, good.
And I'll add on to that, right? Plenty of critical fans, plenty of critical racers, people in the racing community over some things that we do broadcast wise, but also specific people. And I'll just say it because most of the planet knows it, right? Like there are people who, out there who don't love Tony Pedregon's style from time to time. And I got a phone call Friday night leaving the racetrack, and two different people who are typically very critical, specifically of Tony. I disagree with it often. Who were like, man, I laughed at this, right? Because it's like the typical backhanded compliment. Even Tony Pedregon was great. And I thought in that moment right there, if I've got people calling me who normally want to call me to tell me, did you hear what he said? And I'm like, how could I hear what he said? I'm in a different booth doing my own job, right? This, that, whatever. And they're calling to be like, hey, what you guys just did there was pretty wild. To your point, it would be nice to have some public recognition of that. But I don't think we need that, Joe. Listen, I sent a text out to all the on-air people from that show. And then I sat down with Steve Reiches Saturday morning at the hotel, who is the NHRA's VP of Broadcasting, and he produced that show. So all 7 of us on-air people, to do my math right there, 3 in the booth, 2, 4, 7 of us who were on air for that 2-hour block of Nitro. All 7 of us had Steve in our ear the whole time. And that man and Garrett and Chris and Rob, they were. It was to listen to them in your ear. It was like this amazing, John Williams symphony going on of television production, to have to work with that many people, to manage that many people. And what people don't even realize is there's stuff going on between David on the top end, me on the starting line, Jordan and Courtney back in the lanes that wasn't even getting on air because Garrett's managing 4 people who are all on a button. Hey, I've got this to add. And it kind of got to a point where we all wanted in on it because it was going so well. I'm with you. That was, first off, that's the most fun I've ever had at work. And I've been fortunate to do this a long time, and I'm not just talking NHRA. You go back to my news days, the, college sports stuff I still get to do side to side. That I've never had that much fun in my life ever.
Yeah, but
that was awesome.
None of the media outlets even noticed
right.
it. They claim to be critics of the sport. And I'm saying I've certainly caught many arrows for things that I said,
Sure. Me as well.
2 inches of asphalt, right? I have had my bad moments. Right. I'll have many more bad moments. Not everybody likes me. I don't like everybody.
Yeah,
but
right.
They don't even realize it's on. It's free on YouTube. They don't want to mention that because it's not in the narrative of negativity that has been put out there by so many. They have invested so much in the narrative of negativity that they cannot possibly
It's
I
the
don't know.
Yelp culture, though, Joe. We've talked about this, right?
Yeah,
Like, what is
I
our rule
know.
when we pick restaurants to eat at, right? Okay, we pick restaurants to eat at on the road. We pull the Yelp and the Google reviews up. If it's 3.8 to 4, it's probably good, right? Fine, good enough. If it's 4.1 to 4.5, it's probably pretty good. And if it's 4.5 to 5, it's either the best meal you've ever had in your life, or it's total complete fluff BS, right? So, like, that's just the world that we live in. People go to the internet to complain. Your loudest critics is usually it's the loudest people on the internet are also usually a minority, and that goes
But
for
not
everything in
media
life.
outlets, though. Like again,
No, I'm with you,
I'm
right?
complaining. Media outlets
Well,
are
hey, you just
supposed to
had one of
notice
them
this
on.
stuff.
You could have put him on the spot.
Oh, I
You
did
could
put
have
him on
asked
the
him about.
spot. I already
Did you? I
did.
missed it. Okay,
Well, it
privately,
wasn't
got
on
it.
the air.
That's fine.
Here's the thing.
Listen, and I
I
understand what you're
cornered
saying.
him. I cornered him at the track. Like, Bobby,
Oh, okay.
what did you think of the broadcast on Friday? And he's like, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. Why are you guys getting beaten up about it? So that tells me a little bit about just the default setting, right? The default setting. I was like, no. Nobody's getting beaten up.
Well, here's what I'll say to you,
about anything.
Joe, is that I've already been in a couple meetings, right, since that Friday night where the quality of that show has come up. And I think there will be more of that moving forward. I think there's going to be, frankly, a lot of opportunities for that moving forward.
Well, there should
I'm
be.
hopeful. I'm hopeful that one of those opportunities, frankly, is Friday night in Brainerd. And although while I've not seen the television schedule, part of what made Friday night possible and so special was Fox didn't have a TV show to produce from Friday night's session because of the way that the Saturday qualifying show kind of played out. So we were able to take everything from TV, right? Basically what fans got was, for all the fans who clamor for more live NHRA, they want live Sunday eliminations or whatnot, like that's what you would get effectively. And who knows, it's not a public secret by any, stretch of the imagination that NHRA is in a negotiating window for the next television deal. And I'm sure that live content is a big part of that conversation because live sports is where all of television rights are moving anyways, right? Like cable television is basically dead, sans live sports. So live sports is in many senses more valuable than ever, but also at the same time, the only thing keeping cable television profitable. And I think that puts us in a good place when we can take something like Friday and in this negotiating window say, look what we did, right? And look what we're capable of doing, when given those opportunities more and more. So I'm excited about the possibility. And I think having quality shows like that moving forward will, at least I would imagine, would likely only help us in those conversations because we can keep going back to the table with, Fox, or if it's other companies that we're talking to, and I'm not privy to that information, but I know we love Fox and have a great relationship. You can keep going back to the table with them and go, look, we can consistently deliver this live product in the moment that's phenomenal with all these interviews and all these personalities. We've talked so much about personalities of our drivers and bringing them out, and what Courtney and Jordan were able to do in the staging lanes was amazing. And then David's energy on the top end. I mean, that was David Freiberger at his best. I mean, the excitement was pure and genuine after, all these record runs and all these great moments and the craziness that went on all throughout the session. That was David at his best because David is, I mean, like you and I and Loans, right? Like David's a fan, right? Like Jordan Vandergriff and Tony Petrichon love the sport, but they're drivers, which is great. We need that perspective. Like Galvin and Loans and Joe and Freiberg are like, we're not drivers, right? We're fans. I mean, like we like to go race, right? We all love to go bracket race and, run Lucas with categories, whatever. I'm sure some of us love to be professional drivers, but like we're fans, and you could see that, like David's emotion on the top end was just so raw and genuine, and I think the drivers resonated with that because it was like having a conversation with their slightly more famous fan, right? Because everything Freiberger's been able to accomplish in his career. So it was just really fun. That's what I took away from it. I get what you're saying, but I'm hopeful that as we get to do more of that, then I hope that more people pick up on it. And like I said, listen, Friday and Brainerd.
Drag Race Mayhem is trying to take credit for the staging lanes idea. Like, it's ridiculous, but he's joking. But oh yeah, it was okay. Scott Malpass says facts. Of course, everyone rocked it on Friday. Now, like the commentary is, I've cajoled them into a little bit of knowledge.
Right? Yeah, you've guilt tripped them, Joe.
This is that's what I do. That's what the show is.
Let me just tell you, I heard what we're working on for Friday in Brainerd, and I don't know if the live to social show will come with it, but usually it does. You know, when we did the Seattle D-Cell deal, when we
Nikki's
did
crapping
the
on it. Look. She goes, it was a broadcast. It was good. Like, no, it was totally different than anything that you, like,
it was
no, that's not
absolutely different than anything the sport has ever done, frankly. Like, it just was. So it's what we talked about doing at the start of the year, and we were finally able to make it all come together. So listen, Friday in Brainerd could be a lot of fun, and I'll just leave it at that. Like, I'll wait for them to finalize deals and make an announcement, but you know, I'm hopeful that we finalize what I heard we're working on today. And if and when we do, and we tell the world, then hopefully that means we get another opportunity to do it Friday in Brainerd.
Yeah, a lot of comments in the comment section now. I got them going, and just in time for them to be
Of course you
commenting.
did.
We'll move on. But that's it. Like, everyone's all fired up about this now. Go watch it. It's available on the social. You can go watch it on YouTube. It's there. Go watch it again and realize what you missed and you failed to comment.
Listen,
comment.
just the 4-minute window around Brittany's run. Like, we
Yes.
posted Brittany's run to social, and Loans in the moment was spectacular. And honestly, I thought you did a killer job coming in behind him, and Tony, and, you know, Grubnick and I had that kind of cheeky, fun moment on the starting line. And, you know, like, that was all great, but there's
The
a build
engine.
up to
I
that.
forgot about that. The
Yeah,
engine,
right.
Gal.
Right. But there's a build up to that, because I had talked to David prior. And so there's kind of this, you know, build up moment ad before, while she's doing the burnout. And even leading into that, there's all this, you know, kind of hype and anticipation for what could possibly happen. And then the moment delivered, and that was phenomenal.
Yes.
The answer was more. You put that up. It's okay. Put it back up.
Which one?
The answer is more. You
The
just
answer is more.
Somebody
Yes.
had a question. There are more or less subscribers than last year with NHRA.TV. And the answer is there's more, by a healthy margin, a very healthy margin. I learned that at the Sponsor Summit on Thursday in Sonoma.
And we don't even promote that. Like, we barely promote. We run some ads, but we don't promote it as
Do
much.
we need
as
to do a better job of it? I agree. 100%.
Well, you know, it is what it is. All right. So let's talk about the 343 though. Moonshot, everything aligning, expectations. That was my point. Sometimes you hope and you wish and you're rewarded, and we got it, but we didn't get what we thought we were going to get. We thought we were going to get 341 and change. We thought we were going to get 342. We skipped right over 342 to 343. I joked about it. So John Force Racing's got to print new t-shirts every week now. Like, slow it down. The Queen of Speed, Brittany Force, 3.4 ? Because you just don't know how fast she's going to go.
I mean, even Brittany said on Saturday that she had, you know, Friday night, she had this massive crowd. And the crowd this weekend was amazing at Sonoma, but Friday was like something I've never seen, Joe. I mean, it reminded me of Woodstock, honestly. I mean, the way that the fans were into it. I got emotional doing pre-race, right? Like, I'm standing on the stage right next to the crowd, and Color Guard comes out, and you know, there's 25,000 people in the stands singing the national anthem, and the place is packed, and like, you could just feel the energy in the joint. They were incredible. And I mean, credit, like, hundreds of fans went to Brittany's pit after that run, rightfully so. And Brittany played it up. I think maybe the best social media video I've ever seen our sport do from a competition standpoint was the one JFR produced with Brittany and Grubnick. And Brittany talks about the crew. Grubnick fires right back with, listen, like, you could talk about just going in a straight line all you want, but there is a skill to being able to drive a nitro car at that speed and make that happen. There's a lot of things Brittany Force could have done wrong there that would have hurt 343, and she didn't. She did a perfect job in the race car too, and that's why it ran 343, right? And so there's that back and forth, and she goes out and she's playing up to the fans like she's, you know, like Hulk Hogan, you know, going out to the rope there. And she's sitting there and signing autographs, and she said on Saturday, she goes, I had to stop and think about the number. I kept writing 341. And then I don't know, I would scribble out, we could start over again. Like, so we can write the 343. I mean, it's incredible. The run that team is on with speed, and I know ET wins races. That's a whole different conversation. But the run they're on with speed, you know, I even finally got David Grubnick Saturday morning. I went over and talked to him a little bit in the hauler. We laughed a little about the Friday night deal. There's a backstory that, you know, we don't need to get into, but where his whole comment, the engine thing came from, was honestly because David Grubnick was still kind of shocked. You know, like, it was just like a tongue in cheek. Like, I needed a second to think about, like, holy hell, we went from, like, we skipped right over 42 to 43. He wasn't trying to do that, right? In a similar vein to Austin Prock wasn't trying to run 341 at the World Finals. It's just all the stars aligned. And David was talking about, like, that moment and everything that went into it, but it's like this Because if I'm being honest with you, like there was more. I went back and looked at it. Like there was more. So I mean, maybe they don't need to print the T-shirts yet, right? I mean, you still need the track and the weather and all of that stuff to marry like it did on Friday night. Great track, great weather, and all of that. But
well, Brainerd,
there was more.
Brainerd is a track that can hold it. We know that. We've seen going down the stretch.
Yeah.
Maple Grove, track that can hold it. It's going to be wild. Pomona.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking about ET record at Maple Grove, right? Because that's where we've seen, like Brittany Force's ET record happen at Maple Grove. And if we get the right amount, the right weather conditions, hopefully Mother Nature, who, owes us like 12 from the early part of the season, and she's gotten 2 back the last 2 weeks. So by my math, she still owes us every single race the rest of the year. If she cooperates when we get to Reading, I mean,
let's do it.
Let's just be hopeful, right?
So, but the racing gods are fickle, and they gave Brittany the big moment on Friday night, and so on Saturday morning, like Langdon gets down one time and he beats Brittany, and so it's like the ripping the heart, the still beating heart out of the chest, and then Langdon, as far as points go, great for him in the regular season championship. Tony Stewart with his only first round out of the year. When all said and done, though, it's Doug Coletta and Antron Brown, and Doug gets the win. Alan Johnson, in an interview, you might wonder, does all the winning kind of blur together for Alan Johnson as a championship? And the answer is no way. He's like, we're going back to a final. This is our first final in a long time. We've been running well, but having all kinds of problems. And he's like, I'm just so excited to go back to a final. When you got Alan Johnson in your face telling you something like that, it's like, wow. And they get the win.
It's a huge race for Alan, right? He's from Santa Maria, Central California. So Sonoma is like one of 2 home tracks basically for him. And it's a big deal. I mean, that team, you kind of been waiting for that moment, right? It makes me think back a little bit, honestly, Joe, to 12 months ago when Antron Brown kind of finally broke through in Sonoma last year. And what did that do? That propelled him to a world championship. Like this race can do that if you can carry that momentum through into Brainerd and Indy. And we're going to find out here real quick. You take from Sonoma through the U.S. Nationals, the 2 or 3 cars or bikes in each class that are running best, like those are your championship, cars, in my opinion. It doesn't matter where they are in points. Doug might go into the countdown 5th in points, but if he goes to the finals in Brainerd and then wins Indy and he's 4th or 5th in points, I mean, we hit a reset button for a reason, right? So, and we've seen that. We saw it with Antron last year. Antron didn't go into the countdown 1st or 2nd, right? And it happens. It happens every year with at least 1 or 2 classes. So maybe this will be the run for Doug. I do want to back up just real quick. Talk about Brittany round 1. It was worth noting because she gets a tremendous amount of hate on the internet about not finishing the deal on Sunday. And to her credit, Sean left on her, but Brittany left on time. And when she went by our broadcast booth, which is unique in Sonoma at 660 feet, she was pulling away from Sean Langton and well on her way to a round win and what would have been a long day. And I talked to her in the winner's circle, and it nicked a piston, and the overboost shut the car off. And she said she's like 800 feet, and I'm sitting there like this, like trying to almost like Barney Rubble it, like feet on the ground, like go, go, go. She's like, I couldn't see him, and I knew we were winning the race, and 50 feet from the finish line, he went blowing by. So disappointing for that team, but I wouldn't write Brittany Force's team off on Sunday based on that. That's a fluke deal.
Yeah, it's wild. Good for Sean, though. Doug wins the race. We spoke with Austin earlier. We spoke with Greg and Aaron Stanfield. So let's jump to Pro Stock Motorcycle. Richard Gadsden, right? We called it. It didn't take a long time to get to the second one, and I think his true personality is just now starting to emerge.
Listen, low-key, Richard Gadsden has been the best, rider motorcycle combination in Pro Stock Motorcycle since the second week of June. He wins Bristol. He goes to the final round in Norwalk, has an issue with the motorcycle, was on his way to winning that race, right? I mean, so he should be 3 of the last 5. He's 2 of the last 5. He got his first #1 qualifier. He, had the best motorcycle on Saturday in the Gittrix Pro Stock Motorcycle call out. He was 1 foul red. I even went back to Richard and apologized Saturday because I didn't love after the fact the terminology I used in the moment. I said that he threw it away, and then I thought about it, and I think I even kind of tried to walk that back a little on the broadcast. I went and talked to Richard about it, and he was like, no, like, you're right, I did throw it away. I said, no, but
It's a thousandth, man. That's a quintet. It could have been perfect. It's
correct. Right. One foul on a pro stock. If you're one foul red on a pro stock motorcycle, you saw ambers, right? Same in a pro stock car. That's just cutting it too tight. It's cutting it too close. And he was pushing. And the thing that I love about Richard Gadsden, and tell me if you think I'm wrong here, Joe. He has always, since he came on board, owned his mistakes. I think, frankly, he probably should have won a race or two his rookie season. Probably should have won earlier than Bristol this year. He has made mistakes. He has always owned the mistakes. He has learned from those mistakes consistently. And I think that's why Vance and Hines likes him so much. He's not afraid to admit when he messes up. He'll wear it on his sleeve and he'll learn from it. And he said on Saturday afternoon, when I talked to him coming out of the media center, he said, listen, I know as long as we don't have a mechanical issue tomorrow, we're going to win this race if I do my job. I just don't need to cut it that close. I need to be 20 to 30 every run if we're going to go win the race. And he went out there on Sunday and did just that. Didn't make a single mistake all day, cut the lights he needed to win the round, right? That was the important part. What do I need to do right now in this moment versus the motorcycle on the other lane? And every single round he delivered and he won that race. And he's second in points and he closed on Gage. And I mean, listen, Richard Gadsden it's not just the Gage and Matt Smith show anymore. Like, this is the 3 motorcycle race. And by the way, credit to John Hall, who is quickly making an argument that there's a 4th motorcycle that should be in the conversation in the world title hunt as well, because he won Norwalk and then was number 1 in Seattle and then goes to the final here this past weekend. I mean, that motorcycle has roared to life. So, kudos to Matt Smith and team for finding consistency in that second motorcycle as well. It's not just the booming one-off runs that some of those other motorcycles have from time to time, but consistently now John Hall is on, like a 1-month run where that motorcycle's been really good. It's making pro stock motorcycle fun. And I'm a little disappointed they're not in Brainerd because it's fun right now. But when we get to Indy, like, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Anybody can win Indy, right? There's more. It's funny how it's working out. John Hall, again, hats off. And thanks to Life's a Drag, the Twitter account, for reposting the stream. We appreciate you for doing that. Spoke with Austin. Austin, amazing. 340 in the first round. Talk a little funny car. Austin still that perfect record on Sunday against Matt Hagan. Not to pick the scab, but it's just, to me, a statistical anomaly that blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, and, everybody's got their kryptonite, right? And we found Matt Hagan's right now. His kryptonite is the Cornwall car. So NHRA.com's got a 5 things we learned article. They post every race. And the thing that they posted about Sonoma was Austin Prock is the best driver in a Nitro funny car. Inarguable right now. And it's not just Austin, it's the team. But when they need Austin to bail him out, he does. And when Austin needs Jimmy to bail him out, which frankly is rare, right? Like he rarely makes mistakes. But usually Jimmy's there. And when they're both on, like they were on Sunday, forget about it. And I keep saying it. To me, it's so impressive. Nitro racing shouldn't look this easy, right? Steve Torrance had that perfect countdown. That was incredible. Joe, you talk about it all the time. It's a moment that you love to talk about.
The number one thing that has ever happened, the equivalent of the Joe DiMaggio hit streak, something that I don't think will ever be equaled. But will it?
But maybe, I don't know. But that's 6 races, right? And you talk about Austin here. Oh, Kobe's mad about this, right?
Oh,
you talk about Austin, and we're a year and a half now, Joe. If you win 40% of your races in a year and a half, I don't care what you're racing. Like, that's crazy. But in Nitro, we're like, we just talked about like Brittany Forrest, like it nicked a piston and shut the car off and she got beat, right? Like, so much silly, stupid stuff happens with a Nitro car that you can't control, except for with that team for whatever reason. I mean, a year and a half now. The only mistake they've made was that mistake in Dallas where the car, didn't start for round 1 or 2, whatever that was. That's it. A year and a half. It's wild.
It's wild. It's wild. And okay, Kobe's getting fired up. We want to let you go. Final thought on the race this weekend, and as we get ready to go to Brainerd.
Yeah, incredible weekend.
Other than the chicken was great. We enjoyed some great chicken on the farm.
Oh, look at you, Joe, with the pictures. Yes. The chicken was great. Listen, I'm going to get him when I tell you this because he's mad he's not on the show for the third straight week. That's the problem. He's just mad he's not on the show.
My streak,
he's just mad. He is. He's like, Dad, what are you doing there?
There it is.
Is that the deal? Do you just hear me talking to Joe? Yeah, is that funny? You hear me talking and you're like, I want to see myself on TV.
Last week, people
You
were
are-
like, the dexterity and concentration you displayed, this
Dude,
like the baby's
he
crawling
is
all
his-
over you.
He
and
is
you're-
his father's kid, let me tell you.
Oh,
Anyways,
poor-
I know, right? Yeah, poor Kobe. Is that funny? Listen, incredible racing. I want a hat tip here, Joe, real quick. I'll take my final thoughts. The Justin Lamb, Trey Vetter story, I talked about it today on our social media call. I know that our social media team's working on pulling some stuff from that too. It did not get, I think, enough run on the internet like it should. The Cal Method story from Seattle blew up. Listen, what Justin Lamb and Trey Vetter and that entire team did this weekend was pretty incredible, right? Justin and Trey are cousins. Everybody knows who Justin Lamb is. I'm not sure the average fan, even of Lucas Oil Racing, really knows who Trey Vetter is, but they should get to know the name because he's young and he's damn good. And, you know, he wins super stock. First off, he brought the super comp car down first, and I could see this developing because of where the staging lanes are and we are. He brings the super comp car down the NASCAR track and pulls over it, basically NASCAR start finish line, and gets out and goes and gets on a golf cart to get the super stock car. And I thought, that's weird because I get bringing one car down, you're doubled up in a final, but like, wouldn't you bring it down and around and come up the NASCAR pit road and, you know, go get yourself lined up for the finals? Like, why would you stop it out there? That's weird. And then all of a sudden a golf cart shows up and picks the super comp car up and tows it back. And we're like, what the heck is going on here? Long story short, thing broke a fuel pump coming to the staging lanes in the finals. Justin Lamb, who is his cousin, has a super stock car with a fuel pump that's no longer in competition, but Justin's got to run the stock final. So Justin comes up, first car down track in the final, runs the stock final, wins, does what Justin Lamb does, wins the race, has NHRA Tech grab him in a golf cart on the top end, leaves the stock eliminator car on the top end, gets out, I don't want my Wally, I don't want anything, I got to go. Gets in a golf cart, goes down to the pits, pulls the super stock car back out, pulls the fuel pump off, starts changing Trey's fuel pump. Meanwhile, Trey is in the super stock car trying to win his first national event. It's his third final ever, trying to win his first national event. Trey goes, does everything right in super stock, wins the super stock race, gets to the top end, has no time to stop and think about, holy cow, I just won my first national event. My sister's won an alcohol dragster. My cousin's won 50 races, is one of the greatest races we've ever had. Like all of this, like I'm finally there. I've made it. No time to celebrate. Gets in a golf cart, goes back down. What are we doing? Helps them. Multiple teams. Jerron Settles is over there. There's all these people helping to change the fuel pump. Gets in the super comp car, new fuel pump, no idea what it's going to do, not calibrated for that engine, not calibrated for that style of racing. It's a super stock car fuel pump. Gets in, goes up there, 11 on the tree. Dale Green was dead to rights, and he'd probably tell you that. And then the thing didn't have the right fuel pressure and wouldn't run, right? But I mean, put the pressure on Dale Green to make a mistake. And the fact that they even got back there, like, first off, I said it on Sunday, kudos to Dale Green and that team for waiting and having the patience and the sportsmanship they showed. But man, like that was, to me, the epitome of what Lucas Oil Series racing is like. And we're on this incredible run over the last couple national events with great stories. Cal Method, oldest winner in history, right? Mark Powick wins at home. I know factory stock's not quite a Luke's class, but it's not a pro class, so it doesn't get the national love that the other classes do. And then that whole story in Sonoma. It probably took longer than he wanted it to, but I just thought it was worth getting out there for non-Lucas Oil fans to hear. I was very impressed with that entire situation. It was an awesome, awesome story. We kind of got to follow along with it. And kudos to that entire family. They should be very proud of that entire moment.
Yeah, no, it was Trey on the, and where can you hear about all this stuff? NHRA.TV. That's it. You see the winner interviews. They are brought up in front of the crowd. Val Torres as well wins Super Gas. Aaron Stanfield wins Top Sportsman. Just an amazing weekend out there. Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty winners, Brittany, Dallas, Matt, and Ron Capps. Ron Capps making up for losing the Full Throttle Bottle Blender contest. He was very disappointed that he lost.
Yeah, Joe, how did you not win that? I'm so disappointed.
Dude, listen, I was a last-second replacement. I filled in for whoever it was that couldn't make it. They drafted me into it. I did what I felt like was a great job. But Antron Brown had been knocking on the door a couple of years. It was just his year to win. It's just his year to win.
You don't realize this, but I speak fluent Kobe, and he says you're making a lot of excuses right now.
Well, it's just the state of the situation. I didn't know the game I was in. Antron had been there for 3 consecutive years. He knew that the label artwork was very important. I'm like, label artwork? How important is that? Oh, yeah, the label artwork is very important, Joe. Did not know that. Did not know that. I got a deduction on label artwork. Now people have bid on those bottles of wine. I don't know how it all turned out, but it went out to Speedway Children's Charities. Jason Galvin,
Yeah, they were working on it.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Excellent sharing the Western Swing with you guys.
Yeah, Joe. We'll see you in Brainerd.
Later, Kobe. There he is. Little
bye.
Kobe. Bye, Kobe. He's becoming a part of the show. Right. I'll see you later. Jason Galvin with us here on WFO Radio. Amazing stuff. And I appreciate him for reaffirming my opinion, which is, look, I don't get upset about anything. I don't care about people who disagree or agree. It's just a fun little scrum out there on social media. But every once in a while, you'll notice a trend. You notice a trend about, like, there's commentary about certain topic or non-commentary about a certain topic. And I would say, generally speaking, and remember, I'm not an employee. Galvin's an employee. I'm not an employee of the NHRA. I'm a contractor. I serve at the pleasure of the president, Glenn Cromwell. Tomorrow, he could say, Joe, we no longer want you to be a part of the show. And I would say, okay. And I would go back to doing whatever I would do. And I am aware of that at every moment of every day that I'm out there. That's why I try really hard. And, but I notice things on other sides of other fences and everything. People are really, really challenged to give NHRA any credit for anything positive. They will attack for something negative. And there were negative things. There were negative things that happened, certainly. And there will always be negative things, because every person who is in the world is constantly, making decisions. And some of them will be wrong in every second of every day of everything that happens all the time. That's why I said a couple of weeks ago, there by the grace of God go I. People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. A little more mean, because I don't think we live in a glass house. I notice a lot of the social media commentary and stuff that I don't notice, people bring to me. They bring it, like, Joe, did you see this? Yes, I saw it, or I didn't see it, whatever. But very rarely, like, I can't remember the National Hot Rod Association making commentary on anybody. That doesn't happen. But boy, does a lot of commentary get made. So when something positive happens, I'm wondering, like, will anybody bother to notice this wonderful thing that just took place? Yeah, they probably did. But they're not going to be, there's a certain thing about that. You don't want to give people too much credit for good, but definitely hold them account to bad. That's why nobody writes positive letters about great service, but they do go on there to complain. I think it's just human nature is what it is. And how do you fight against people's human nature? You really can't. You cannot. Now, something cool that's happening, human nature, tomorrow, Life's a Drag. This guy, Jason Logan, along with Elon Werner, are going to be right here in the WFO feed live at 12 noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central. Elon has acquiesced as Jason and his driving cars that are boats job has taken over his early evenings. So they're going to do the show in the 12 o'clock Eastern time slot that we have cultivated a little bit here in the WFO universe. I'm really excited to see what they talk about, because it was a lot of fun. We had a great weekend. Snake was out there. Snake is photobombed in the media center by Tony Stewart. Really cool. We got to spend a little time all over the place at Sonoma. Look at this amazing suite they've got in turn 11 for the NASCAR guys. Antron Brown wins the bottling and mixing of wine competition that I got drafted into. There's my not so great label. Ron Capps said that he was going to bid on my bottle of wine. I was told by someone that was Tony, who owns the Three Fat Guys Winery, that my wine actually paired best with the food. But apparently that is not a big enough chunk of the overall judging. I mean, if I wanted to be negative, I could say that, Antron Brown is the reigning world champion and you're going to get a lot more pub on your bit than if Costello wins. That's possible. We called the action from here. Amazing situation. But by the end of Sunday, when you've been up and down that thing 50 times, you get a little tired. Food in Sonoma was incredible. Like, this is just one. I'll leave it to Life's a Drag to talk about the food. And Jason Logan, I'm sure, consumed a lot of it. But in the end, Tony Stewart lost first race of his season. Not until a streak ends do we talk about how amazing the streak was. I want to give kudos to the folks who placed John Force Racing right at the exit of the grandstand. gave the fans an unbelievable experience to be so close to them. Richard Gadsden, don't worry. Richard will be on a show in the future. I'm thinking we bottle the energy and we break it out right before Indy on our U.S. Nationals preview show. The folks at Sonoma going over and above with the special trophies and the wine. If you didn't get to see it because it was consumed instantly, here's what it looked like. It was amazing. And the Greg and Aaron Stanfield thing, I love what they had going on. It was amazing. All right, guys, final thoughts in the chat section. Let's see what you've got to say. I would love to know what you have to say as we get ready to get on out of here. But I do want to shout out once again, PowerTube TV. They've got an Apple TV app. They're on Roku. The show is on 9 p.m. Eastern time on Friday nights. We are the Friday night show. So what's more fun than that? Friday night show, WFO Radio. Hear it from Heiner for Patreons. We're going to have a show with Michael Heiner in the next week or two. Break down the Get Biofuel team and Pro Stock in general. If you're not a Patreon of WFO Radio, go to patreon.com/WFO Radio and join up for a couple bucks a month and support the show and pay our internet bill and, whatever else. I got a fancy new camera. It's not so fancy, but it's new. You might have noticed. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. They only notice the negative. It takes a really trained, finely honed eye to notice the positive. When Jimmy Prock rolled out those swept back headers, did people notice them right away? No. But if there was a hole in the body, they would have noticed. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821. If you don't have a can of Foggit, you need to have one. Foggit, Foggit, available at summit-racing-equipment.com. Bernie Speed Shop, Hussey Performance, of course, Redline Synthetic Oil, FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters, all helping out WFO. CWT Industries, all helping out WFO Radio as we are continuing to grow and having a great time. Total Seal Piston Rings, Jesse Converters, all on board with the WFO universe. And you can tell I'm a little raspy, man. We did a lot of talking. I could use a week off, and that's exactly what we got. But to all the race fans who said hello, the crowd at Sonoma is one of the best crowds, if not the best crowd, a party crowd, a fun crowd, a crowd that is so excited. They're willing to get loud. They're there to get loud, to have fun. When Jason Logan says get loud, they do it, as opposed to some of the East Coast communities that are like, just because you asked me to do it, I'm not going to do it. Hey, get loud. Nope. It's funny. But I did ask someone who works the suites there, what was the difference between the NASCAR crowd and the NHRA crowd? And they said, and maybe they're related, the NHRA crowd, much heavier drinkers. Huh. I would not have guessed that NHRA outdrinks NASCAR. Proud of it. Cliff says, great show today, Joe. Thank you very much. Ignition Show, audio-only podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Check it out. Ant Dog, good as usual today. Thanks for another awesome show, Joe. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you. Derek, how about the Snap-on CEO emotional speech if you missed it? Yeah, I'd love to get that polled by someone. Mr. Nick Pinchuk mentioned my father. Coming up on the 1 year of my dad's passing, and I'm supposed to do a starting line interview with Nick Pinchuk. And out of nowhere, he starts talking about my dad and Project Pontiac and racing his car. And it was wild. Would it be rude to say get in shape? Steven wants me to get in shape. Yeah, I'm trying, Steven. I like to eat so much. You come out and drink wine for 3 straight days. Very challenging. There was an elevator, but you had to walk a mile to get to the elevator. Should have used the WFO sticker for the wine bottle. See, and that's why we keep you around, Brenwald Media. Joe, we loved your Max Hagen statch at the pre-race ceremony. Yeah, all these crazy things that happened this weekend. And it's just all a blur. Guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Remember, life's a drag tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern.